Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and please check out my channel for other Z-World updates. So the last update about Twist of Fate, Ranbir also gets locked up while trying to save Prachi at the police station, and a lady constable tells Ranbir that Prachi is pregnant. Let's continue. The lady constable tells Ranbir that she heard Prachi and Shahana talking that Prachi is pregnant. Ranbir gets happy and congratulates Shahana and Prachi with a hug. Prachi reciprocates the hug and holds him. She then lifts his hand. He says, "You have shared the good news," and says that now you are a mother. He says, "We shall celebrate for this good news." The lady constable says that she is worried as the mother of the baby is worried. Ranbir thinks that it is Shahana that is pregnant. The lady constable comes there and says you are bailed out. The inspector asks them to sign on the bail papers. Ranbir asks the lawyer if he knows that Shahana was here. The lawyer says that he was aware and that is why he added Shahana's name in the bail papers. He asks Ranbir to take his car as it might have come from the airport. Ranbir thanks him and asks Prachi and Shahana to come. Aliyah and Pallavi comes back from shopping. Aliyah tells Rhea that she will never go for shopping with Pallavi again. Rhea praises Pallavi for shopping so much for her and surprising her. Aliyah asks her to give her some credit as she told her choice to her mother-in-law. Pallavi thanks Aliyah for helping her so that she can shop so soon. Aliyah says, "I thought we were shopping since a year." Vikram comes there with Grandma and tells Pallavi that he thought that he will get a letter from her that she is done with him. Grandma thinks that where is Ranbir because he had told her that he will bring Prachi. Ranbir asks Shahana to sit on the back seat as the car will not shake much and the baby will be safe. Prachi comes there and sits with Shahana. Ranbir says, "You became a good sister. I will become a good driver." He drives the car and tells Shahana that she is not glowing in pregnancy like Prachi. Ranbir teases Prachi indirectly for showing the attitude. Shahana asks him to drive carefully and he should not look in the mirror and talk. She says, "Take left." He says, "I will be taking you to our house," and says until Sarita returns, Prachi will take care of you. He says tomorrow is lottery festival. We will celebrate together. Shahana says, "I don't have clothes with me." Ranbir says the driver will bring your clothes, or you can just ask Prachi. He says, "Else I will bring clothes for you." He asks Shahana to smile because she is pregnant. He then recalls the lady's words and gets worried for Shahana. Pallavi asks Vikram not to touch Rhea's surprise and gives his gift to him. She then gives gift to Grandma and Niti. She shows Parandi to Rhea and says the ladies wear this while doing Gida during lottery festival. Aliyah says Pallavi tried all these parandas on my hair. Vikram says I would accept if you try it again. He says he is happy. Pallavi says it is Rhea's first lottery festival after marriage with Ranbir and says it will be special. She explains the function. Pallavi and Vikram ask Grandma to sing. Vikram and Pallavi dances as Grandma sings. Pallavi says the newly wedded will get many blessings. Pallavi says we are taking 7 rounds on lottery day. Vikram says our bond is unbreakable. Rhea says, "Mommy, Ranbir haven't come till now. He had said that he is coming." Grandma asks if you haven't told her. Rhea asks if there is something. Aliyah says, "I was about to tell you, then I went for shopping." Ranbir stops the car and asks Shahana to get down. He helps her get down and says that he loves kids. He says he had 3 dreams. One is to marry Prachi, the second is his startup, and the third is suddenly he feels pain in his head and gets blood flashback of his conversation with Prachi. Prachi asks if he is fine. Ranbir says, "I am getting a flashback as if I have told you about my 3 dreams. I had papers in my hand." Prachi recollects and says, "You told me about this before. It is all nonsense." She asks Shahana to come inside. Ranbir shouted, asking Prachi to stop. Ranbir asks, "What did you just say now?" He asks her to say it on his face and asks, "What did you say?" Prachi says, "I told you that you've told me about this nonsense before." Ranbir asks, "Do you think that my dreams are nonsense?" Prachi says it needs hard work to achieve the dreams. Prachi says it was achievement for me to marry you and says, "How can you be stone-hearted?" He says, "You don't have the heart." Prachi says, "I had the heart before, which was broken badly by you." She asks, "Didn't you know about it?" Ranbir says, "I even can complain and more than you, but I am not like you in my past." Prachi says, "You are afraid and you know that you have done a mistake." Ranbir asks why is she blinded and wanted to stay in the past. He says, "I will not love you and I will not care for you." Prachi says, "I am not dying for your love and care." Ranbir says nobody can love this Prachi in this world. Rhea asks what is it that you wanted to tell me, but you did not tell me. Pallavi says Ranbir had gone to the office after meeting. Aliyah says I don't want to spoil your mood. Rhea asks if I should celebrate the festival alone and says it is unfair. She says we should have dinner as Ranbir would return. She tells Niti that she would help her and she goes. Pallavi says I talked to Mishra and he told me that Prachi's bail will not happen today and tomorrow. I wish that 2 days goes on peacefully. She says I don't want Rhea to see Prachi's face. Grandma says if Ranbir comes and says that he had gone to the police station for Prachi, then will Rhea not feel bad? Pallavi says why do we have to upset Rhea? Grandma asks Pallavi not to treat Rhea like a child. Pallavi says if Rhea's mood gets upset, then it would affect tomorrow's function. Grandma says you should have think about this before getting Prachi arrested. She says nobody is thinking about Prachi. Pallavi asks Vikram to make his mother understand and says I cannot keep everyone happy here. Grandma says he should not think about keeping everyone happy. Aliyah thinks why Vikram is not supporting Pallavi and she gets worried thinking what would happen when Prachi returns. Ranbir tells Prachi that nobody can love her in this world as she doesn't have a heart or feelings and she has just hatred to give. He says you have become stoned from top to toe and says it seems like I am eating my head on the stone. Prachi says enough. Shahana asks Ranbir to talk to her later. Ranbir says whenever I talk to you nicely, you show me attitude and talk to me badly. Prachi says you deserve this treatment and says I don't want your love, care and concern and says this is all show off. Ranbir says okay, I will go away from you, that you will not see me or my love. He goes inside the house. Prachi walks behind him. Shahana says Prachi couldn't forgive Ranbir and Ranbir couldn't understand Prachi and now Ranbir considered her to be pregnant instead of Prachi and she asked God to undo these mad lovers. Ranbir comes home. Pallavi asks him to sit. Ranbir says I need some rest. Rhea says it is really wonderful that you came back home on time. Ranbir asks if you are happy to see me at home and says your happiness will turn sorrowful by tomorrow and I will not be Ranbir for you. She asks what are you saying? Prachi and Shahana get inside. Rhea gets shocked and says Prachi. Ranbir asks where is the happiness that you had seeing me? It was fake. He asks if it did not mean anything to anyone in the house. Prachi asks him to talk to her as she has problem with her. Ranbir says I will not talk to you. He says I will fight with Rhea first. He asks Rhea why did she marry him? Aliyah says why are you asking strange things from Rhea? Ranbir says you are calling my question strange and asks if other things are normal. Pallavi asks what happened. Ranbir says I am angry. Everyone has become the member of this fight club. He says you want to fight and you need my support, but I don't want to support anyone. Prachi says you haven't supported me. Ranbir says you have stopped talking to me. Shahana comes there. Ranbir asks her to go inside as this drama will go on for long. Rhea asks why will Shahana stay here? Ranbir says because I am sane and I have some identity in this house. He says Sarita is not in Delhi, so Shahana will stay here. Ranbir tells Prachi that she doesn't need the support. Shahana says you are overreacting. Ranbir says I left my work for Prachi and she... Rhea asks if you have bailed her out and says I am angry about this. Ranbir asks where was that happiness which was on your face? He tells Grandma that the house work on both sisters' mood swings. Ranbir says that the weather will change with their mood. Vikram says it is enough. Ranbir asks why Prachi and Rhea want to take revenge from each other. Why? He says I don't want to stay here and says I don't get 2 minutes of moment of peace. He says Rhea want a married life and Prachi want a right and asks did anyone ask what I want? Pallavi says Ranbir. Ranbir says you don't care for me and you just care about Rhea. He says you don't have your own perspective and you believe whatever Rhea is doing is right and whoever likes Prachi thinks that she is right. He asks did I fight with anyone due to my frustration? Ranbir says I always think about this house alone and says Mahabharat ended in 18 days but this house fight is not ending. He says Prachi wanted to ruin Rhea's marriage functions, which I totally understand. He says Rhea spiked Prachi's drink and took her signatures. Ranbir says Prachi fake raid in the house to get the papers and says Rhea filed a case against her. He asks Rhea why did she file a case against Prachi. He asks why did you call the police. He says the house fight shall be resolved in the house and asks everyone why they did not stop Rhea. Ranbir says if a daughter-in-law is found in the lockup, then the house respect is ruined and tells Rhea that she has ruined his house respect and nobody is telling her that she is wrong. He says you have ruined this house respect. Not only Prachi, but all the house is ruined, and asks why these understanding family members haven't done anything. Ranbir says he should have called me and informed me about Prachi's arrest. He says why is nobody helping Prachi even once? Prachi says I don't need anyone's help. Ranbir says I am not talking to you and asks her to be quiet. He folds his hand and asks everyone to let the house be the house. Vikram asks where are you going to? Ranbir says to get some fresh air as there is hatred in the house. He asks Grandma to make arrangement for Shahana's stay, else both sisters will get a chance to fight again. Grandma asks Shahana to come with her and asks Prachi to rest. Rhea asks Pallavi and Vikram that what is Ranbir trying to say. Pallavi asks her to understand what he wanted to say. Vikram says Ranbir was right. We have done wrong with Prachi by getting her arrested and then not bailing her out. He says shame on us, Pallavi. Rhea asks if Pallavi would also say the same thing. Pallavi says the respect is ruined if you or Prachi are involved. Rhea thinks to prove that she is Ranbir's only wife. Shahana asks Grandma to close the door and get happy, saying that Ranbir scolded everyone today. Grandma says but Ranbir was worried. Shahana says he is grinded between them and says that even Prachi scolded him a lot. Grandma says husband and wife fight is going on, but they unite at the end. She asks Shahana to do something. Shahana says that they love each other, but there is a wall between them. Grandma asks what is the wall? Shahana recalls Prachi's words and says that the wall is not strong and it will break. Grandma says I want their happiness and their togetherness. Shahana says they are together, but there is a wall, misunderstanding, and Rhea's inauspicious presence between them. She says soon Prachi and Ranbir will unite. Grandma asks Shahana happily. Prachi comes to her room and thinks of Ranbir's words. Rhea comes there and says don't fly in the air as Ranbir spoke against me. Prachi says you called Ranbir as your husband and the same Ranbir bailed me out and brought me back into this room. Rhea says you are still thinking about this room and says you can take 10 rooms more and says it doesn't matter to me as Ranbir is not staying with you. Prachi says I don't want to stay with him too. Rhea says you don't want to stay with him and you are not letting me stay with him. Rhea says it is difficult to understand Prachi and Prachi says I understand what you wanted. Thank you for watching. Please like my video, share it and please subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thank you.